Wow, he's very loud and going to the bathroom.
Indeed.
What's this? Ah! Is this his death note? Pipa?
It is.
Petrus? Toriel?
Oh,
Carlisle?
shit. I don't know if I like
This
his
is the
Tetris is
death
in
note.
there. The death of Tetris.
Here, Steven, draw something funny in here. Hurry. He's leaking so fast. What is that?
You know exactly who it is.
Is it Willem Dafoe?
Yeah, reprising his most famous role.
Steven, fuck. Why do you know how to draw him?
I had to draw him once.
Once, huh?
A time or two, yeah.
Hmm.
Or time or three.
Hmm. Steven, that's cursed. You know it. That's a ticking time bomb.
That's gonna be great.
Disclaimer! Crossing the Line is not a show intended to bully or harass anyone. Do not go out of your way to find or mess with the authors featured on our podcast. They make what we do possible, and we love them. And you. Thanks. Enjoy.
広がる闇の中交わし合った革命のちぎり誰にも邪魔させるわけにはいかないから
You ever do anything you weren't supposed to do?
Oh, like what?
I guess that's a yes.
Yeah.
Why'd you do it?
I don't know, I just wanted to. I once wrote them homeless's name in a death note. I once wrote William Dafoe's name in a death note.
Yeah, well, it didn't work.
It's okay. I wrote his career in the death note too. That one worked.
Oh my god, we've been straggling so long for conversation without you.
It's true.
Sorry, I have earrings in. I haven't worn the earrings in like a week, so my ears are starting to close up and it's like... didn't want to give up on them. Alright.
Alright.
What have you said?
I put William Dafoe's career in the death note and it sort of worked.
I asked Steven if he's ever done anything he wasn't supposed to, but he gave me a ring-around answer.
I said that I watched Christian videos after quiet time in my apartment complex, which is true.
Yeah, and then you got a noise complaint.
Also true. Maybe unrelated, maybe not. Anyways, today's episode is, as you probably assumed, Death Note. So what's everybody's experience with Death Note?
Steven?
I know enough about it to be able to understand context, and I've watched the first episode of the anime, and we have just seen the movie on Netflix.
Not the Japanese one.
No.
Or the other Japanese one.
Or the other Japanese one.
But the American Nat Wolff from the Naked Brothers Band and William Dafoe version, otherwise known as Light and Ryuk, with only 2 letters that you can get written before he kills you, as he says.
What even?
Yes, to get warmed up for this thrilling episode, we decided to watch Netflix's Death Note, and it was very fun for all the wrong reasons.
It had a lot of really weird, expensive directing choices.
It had very horny teenagers.
Yes.
The most early 2000s movie I've seen in quite a while.
What was his name? Nat Wolff?
Yes.
He looks like Adam Sandler when he screams.
Yeah. He screams a lot.
When he does an O face and makes the bulge in his nose calm down a little bit, he does indeed resemble Adam Sandler.
The greatest compliment you could give any actor. I'm sure.
Well, Adam Sandler is the golden rule to abide by in acting school.
The perfect proportions.
Remember, Adam Sandler. The only rule you'll need.
Dumb.
You should stream Bloodborne on our YouTube page.
Oh yeah, you can do that.
Yeah, you can go
Can
live.
you do that through PS4? On YouTube?
I know you can on Twitch. I don't know if YouTube has that power yet or not.
If so, that'd be pretty cool.
I was telling Steven here he needs to live stream Elf on GBA on the channel.
That'd be great.
It would literally take you at most an hour.
I'm sure.
And it would be so funny.
Okay, well next time bring everything to hook it up.
Okay.
I'll bring my desktop computer home and we can use Fiverr to stream Elf on GBA.
Oh, hell yeah.
When you go to the AT&T store, it says use Fiverr to take your gaming to the next level on the wall, which is what that means probably.
That's right, fans. Your boys are getting into streaming. No joke.
Only the classics.
Stay tuned.
2 of us have already beat it.
Bloodborne and Elf on GBA. And that's it.
Every day.
Every day.
6 a.m.
This channel devolves into a speedrunning group.
Oh,
Stop doing the podcast so we can have daily Elf on GBA runs.
People love obscure speedruns.
Any percent.
I'm sure we can challenge Charlie.
No, we make our own rule set.
Anyway.
No Santa sleigh glitch. No jab yourself into the corner near a bounce tank glitch.
You have to look at the JPEGs for at least 15 seconds before you continue on to the level.
Gotta watch the cutscenes. Anyways, Steven has watched the first episode of the movie and has been
The first episode of the movie.
and has witnessed the Death Note online throughout the years. And you, George?
Well, I had known the bare minimum of Death Note, that there's a man and a note and another man named L, and he's the good guy. But up until 2 weeks ago, when you came up with the idea, when I put you on the spot to do Death Note fan fictions, I had known essentially nothing prior, so I've been trying to shotgun read it when I can, and I've gotten like 25 chapters in, which I think is the bulk of the main characters, so I'm not too worried about reading fanfics with characters I don't know. But other than that and the Netflix movie.
The only thing you need to know is, I think Mello is, there's 2, well, like, I don't want to spoil it, but there's like 2 more characters.
Let's hold off until they
Okay,
come up
okay.
in fan fictions.
Yeah. And I've read and watched it. I mean, my memory is not great, but I understand the bulk of it. Okay.
Alrighty.
That's a pretty cool Death Note you got over there on that book.
Yeah.
You want to read some of the names in it?
Sure. Let's see what comes up. Oh, actually. Never mind. In here there appears to be a drawing of Inspector Gadget that says Go Go Gadget Death Note.
Let me take a picture of it so I can put it up.
It also happened to be the first page that I opened it to. So, good planning, I guess.
I opened the book just because I was making Death Note gags while you were in the potty, and I said, "Here, Steven, draw something cool in it," and as if I should have expected anything else. I don't know what I was getting myself into.
Oh yeah, I played a little bit of the Will's campaign from Stranger Things and D&D last night, and I made my character Petrus of Thorlund from Dark Souls. Who's this guy?
I hate that guy.
Oh my goodness.
He's actually the worst NPC.
He's a big fat priest of the big morning star. He's a snake.
Oh my god.
Patches is somehow better than him.
He's the big priest man, teaches you miracles in Firelink Shrine in Dark Souls 1.
He's so fat.
He's wide set. Who would like to go first?
Let's see, who went first last time?
I think you did.
Okay, Elias, have you gone first a little bit?
I don't know.
Then go for it, honey.
Okay. I'll make sure I have a few picked out as usual.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's hard to decide between, like, there's always great crossovers of like Harry Potter or something else, but sometimes you have to pick something more obscure for the sake of just getting that out there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So here's one that's more obscure, but hopefully it's good. Chapter 1. L, the smartest man alive, and the world's best chocolatier and candy connoisseur. On January 13th, L decided to give a little something extra in some of his treats. He gave a televised speech describing this extra something. Dear inhabitants of the world, I, L, have chosen to elect a successor to my factory. In order to choose a successor, I have created 5 golden tickets and put those 5 tickets in 5 separate chocolate bars of random variety and random destination.
He sure made those, didn't he?
The 5 who discover these chocolate bars will be allowed to attend my candy factory on the last day of the month, February 28th at 2:30 p.m. The age of the attendees does not matter, but it is requested that each one has a guardian with them. Whether or not they win my name, each participant will receive a lifetime supply of my products. That is all. Naturally, the video caused international uproar. People immediately flooded every candy store on the planet, desperate for the chance to meet, let alone become, the fabled L.
L's anonymous candy shop. God damn.
I just see him like crouched in his chair with a fucking big purple top hat.
Like the second you said something about candy, I already knew what it was gonna be.
Yeah, same.
I love that it's like he's in a full suit, like on his feet in the chair.
The big purple suit, purple hat, clutching his ankles.
In a normal black desk chair.
Oh my lord.
One child in particular, however, did not seem very interested. He'd rather play with his toys instead of wasting his money on sweets.
Yeah, who's that?
The pale boy curled a lock of snow-white hair between his fingers as he carefully stacked dice in a complicated skyscraper. He is Near, which is one of the other 2.
Oh, okay.
In the story, they introduced 2 more detectives besides L. One is a small white-haired boy named Near, and the other one is a tall, like, red-haired guy named Mello who loves chocolate. It's actually his character trait.
How fortunate.
Is he gonna be Augustus Gloop in this story?
He's tall and skinny.
He's gonna get stuck in the chocolate pipe.
Ella's gonna go, man, my beautiful chocolate.
L's gonna be ruling a bunch of Oompa Loompas.
Many L's.
But as the scramble for the tickets continued, he pondered the opportunity of what they promised. Once the first ticket was found, his desire to obtain a ticket was sealed and justified. On January 14th, only one day after the tickets were first announced, newspapers all over the world showed the same headline and article. L's first golden ticket found. Late last night, a young man from Los Angeles is said to have discovered the first of 5 golden tickets from the famed L's Chocolate and Candy Company. It wasn't all that unexpected, really. The discoverer, 19-year-old Mello, name changed upon request, explains. It was the other detective Mello. Let me pull up a couple pictures of these guys, as they seem to be important.
No, I'll do it. You keep reading.
Okay. Near's eyes narrowed ever so slightly at the mention of the alias Mello. So he'd found the first, he thought. God knows what he'll do if he wins the name. It's funny how the 2 other detectives are the 2 that are in the story. Mello found one. Mello is always eating a chocolate bar in hand. That's like his character trait. So of course he would have found a ticket.
I got you.
That same day, a package came in the mail addressed to Near. There was no return address. Careful. We can't be sure if the package is rigged, Hal Linder, one of Near's special agents, said. Yep, that's him. Don't be ridiculous. Near brushed off the warning, getting a pair of scissors and opening the box. It was empty, but further inspection revealed a note that gave a single letter, M. Near resisted, crumpling the note in his hands. It was just like him to send a taunt like that. Lindner, go out and buy a few of L's chocolate bars. He kept his voice flat and monotone. Lindner opened up her mouth to respond, but thought better of it and left. Anthony Rester said what Lindner didn't. Near, I thought you didn't like sweets.
He stepped outside and burped.
I don't, Near curled a lock of hair thoughtfully. But I thought it would be a good idea to try anyway. After all, I have just as much as a chance as anybody to get one. Rester thought on that last sentence and nodded in agreement. Lindner returned a short time later, pulling 4 candy bars out from her purse. Like a mom to this boy. Thank you, Lindner, Near said simply, taking the 4 bars and setting them beside him. This is highly irrational, Near. What if one of those does contain a ticket? Lindner stood high above the little white ball that had gone back to stacking dice. Near lifted a shoulder and let it drop. Then we go to this factory and we see it for ourselves. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, as I'm sure you realize. Chapter 2. It's been found! The second ticket was found! Stephen Gavani handed a page of the newspaper to Near. Second golden ticket found in Japan. Yesterday the afternoon on the 16th of January, the media of Japan's exploded at the news of the second of L's 5 golden tickets being found. Light Yagami, a 23-year-old residing in Japan, was said to have been given the ticket.
23?
Yeah, he's older now. Said to have been given the ticket from his father as a congratulations for becoming a detective. I've actually been wanting to meet this L character for some time now, he said to interviewers upon the subject of the creator of the tickets. And now that I have a ticket, I'll finally be able to see him for myself.
This is such a wacky cartoon take on these characters.
I hope Ryuk is his guardian.
I hope Ryuk finds a ticket.
I can't wait to be.
It'll be very funny if it's his guardian, though, too.
I love chocolate.
A photo beside the article showed a young man in a suit with short, light brown hair and a curious smile on his face. Near examined the photo, then tossed the article to the side in favor of his favorite white puzzle. As the days and weeks went on, headlines of the tickets began found and everywhere appeared. The third was found. The third finding was false. The third finding was false. The third found for real, again in Japan, by an actress named Misa Amane, one of her fans having given her the ticket. Several headlines of the fourth, even the fifth being found, all turning out bogus. Papers fell silent for a while, moving on to other issues and trailing away from the gold frenzy. That is until January 22nd, when a breaking news broadcast restarted the desperate mad dash. Breaking news! The fourth golden ticket from L's Chocolate Factory has been found. Again.
Worldwide news.
Oh my god.
The fourth ticket from L has been found. The fourth lucky soul, Matt, as he requested. It's just a fucking OC. I'm gonna be so mad.
Oh no.
You know, Matt.
Says that he found the ticket using a simple method of observing the shipping schedules of L's company. Yeah, it's fucking OC. Omnipotent, super smart OC. And calculated the exact locations and times when the tickets would arrive, even the particular chocolate's barcode. He says he simply chose the location closest to him, a small shop in England, and bought the winning bar. The television switched to a video of the winner being interviewed, a tall, lanky boy with dyed red hair and goggles framing his face. He wore stripes and a fur vest, while adding up to a very strange-looking outfit.
That sounds like an OC.
I mean, is it, or is it a real character? I mean, his name's just Matt, so, like, I don't know.
Matthew.
I think of red hair and goggles as, like, the guy from Shaolin Showdown.
I think of Matt Pat.
Near tensed, only one left.
No, he is real, and he looks hilarious.
Oh my god, it does.
Who is it? Hold on a second. What does it say?
It's a quiz about Matt from Death Note.
Oh my god.
Who is Matt from Death Note? Is this some funny OC that's just like in the community?
I like that Elias like squinted at that for a second and hold on a second.
Male Jivas. There's a really stupid outfit.
Maybe. No, that does look familiar. I forgot about this character.
I'm guessing he's Endgame character. Matt and Mello tribute, YouTube.
He's one of Mello's like assistants.
I guess.
Oh, it's Mello's friend who lends his aid in the Kira case. Like Mello and Nier, and earlier Matt was raised at Whammy's house, Watari's orphanage. So he is one of the detective guys.
I can't believe Watari has his own orphanage.
Well, I'm glad they thought he was fake by his description. That's pretty funny.
Omnipotent God Matt.
I guess he is a detective kid, so he might be able to do something like that. Anyways, this character is real. Cavani glanced at Nier. I don't think this is worth it. Everyone who's found tickets so far are, to put it lightly, extremely bizarre. You should probably just give up and accept that you won't find the ticket. I have to, Nier said firmly. If Mello inherits L's name, just think of what'll happen. He was getting emotional and not a good sign. Which is like a real conflict of interest in the show, that other detectives want to become the next L, so it's kind of funny this is how it's happening.
Over becoming the next chocolatier.
They want to become the next detective / chocolatier.
They go hand in hand.
What a hobby.
I have to find the last ticket, Near thought, his eyes darkening. He's done nothing to try to find it. He's just sat in his room and played with his puzzles.
He bought 4 candy bars and called it quits.
And so that's probably good enough.
This is so hard, it's impossible.
That's like when some special thing like that happens and you're like, I'm gonna just buy this one. This one's gonna have the prize in the box. And then it doesn't. You're like, what the fuck?
It had been chapter 3.
Hold on. That reminded me of when I bought some damn Lay's potato chips to try to win a Nintendo Switch. And then when I tried to enter the code, it said that code had already been entered in, implying somebody just went down the whole row chip aisle copying codes and trying to win Switches.
Jeez.
Oh my god. Or somebody just typed in random numbers.
That's probably more likely, but I like mine because it's funnier. And then I met somebody, some old black lady who sold a Switch to my video game store, and she's like, "You wouldn't believe it, I won it off a bag of potato chips."
That son of a bitch, she fucking did it. Probably made like $200 on that.
Yeah, something like that. Go on.
Chapter 3. It had been forever since the 4th ticket had been found, and to be quite frank, Nier was getting a tad desperate. In fact, the date was February 26, 2 days before the deadline. He was even considering falling to stealing. He has money. I mean, what else could he do if he finds out somebody got it and steals one from them? Fortunately, the consideration didn't win out. Well, unless you call borrowing a few dollars from Linder's purse stealing.
Oh my god.
Okay, maybe he doesn't have money in this universe.
In this universe where he has 4 guardian parents sleeping in the same bed together.
Nier, with the money in hand, snuck out of the headquarters and went to the Quickless convenience store. The clerk looked at him strangely, but asked simply, "What do you want, kid?" 3 chocolate bars, please, Nier said neutrally. The clerk turned around to get the candy. "What flavors?" "Just plain," Nier said, feeling himself get impatient. The bars were set on the counter, and Nier handed the clerk the money before wordlessly exiting the store. I like that he's like shorter than the counter. That's how I imagine him.
Right.
Handing his mom's money over the counter. He stood outside the store, only a few feet away. He put 2 of the bars in his pocket, keeping one out. He opened the first bar. There was no ticket.
That's not a good place to keep chocolate.
That's not.
He doesn't eat chocolate normally. He doesn't know better. He took the second bar out of his pocket and opened it, only to find nothing. He took the third bar out much more slowly than the other 2. Carefully, Nier peeled the wrapping of the chocolate, almost publicly displaying his anticipation. He drew a sharp breath, tearing the wrapper off. Nothing. No gold. He should have thought so. Someone else has no doubt found it by now. Why was he even looking for this anyways? He didn't even like candy, much less chocolate. He let his arm drop, almost surprising himself at how disappointed he was. Then,
It's okay, I'm sure Nair's disabled grandfather will give him a bar that'll out.
Then something shiny glinted at the corner of his vision. He looked down at his socks. He didn't bother to put his shoes on, and his eyes widened. The ticket was smaller than he thought it would have been. It was only about the size of one
He didn't bother
ticket.
to put his shoes on.
He might get the
He
carnival.
ran down there in socks.
Oh my lord.
I imagine the like snowy, desolate landscape from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, just walking around in his socks.
Yeah.
It was the size of a carnival ticket. The only difference was the pure fact that it was golden, and not cardstock or whatever carnival tickets are made of. Nier leaned down and picked up the ticket.
In his sock?
It like fell onto his sock.
Oh, right, of course.
His eyes stuck wide open. He hurriedly stuffed it into his pocket along with the 3 chocolate bars, walking back to headquarters as if nothing happened.
His open chocolate bar back to headquarters.
Dang, professional. He walked into headquarters and immediately faced Lindner's piercing stare. "Where were you?" she demanded, her hands on her hips like she was reprimanding her own son. Wordlessly, Nier smiled, which freaked Lindner out. He rarely ever smiled. Should she be worried? Nier curled a lock of hair between 2 fingers and silently pulled the 3 bars and golden ticket out. Lindner just about fainted. What? Nier spoke with almost condescending normality. "I will need someone to accompany me in the factory 2 days from now." He turned his head until his gaze settled on Rester. "Rester, would you come with me to the factory?" Rester nodded, always quick to assist Nier. "Of course," he said. Nier smiled. He was going to win.
Win what?
Alice Factory. He's gonna be the goodest boy.
I wonder if they're gonna do the friggin' canoe scene or whatever when they do the poem.
I wonder if Light's gonna drink fizzy lifting drink.
Who's gonna get zapped into a TV? Who's gonna be a blueberry?
Probably Misa.
Chapter 4. 2 days later, everyone was in front of the factory. Everyone! Just outside the gates of the coveted building were the ticket winners and their guardians, almost crushed against it by a record-sized throng of eager people. Nier looked back at the crowd, then up at Rester. Rester stared straight ahead. He seemed nervous, but Nier didn't poke interest. Instead, he observed the other winners. The first winner, Mello. He was accompanied by a large, muscular man. He looked like he was from, and in fact was, part of a crime syndicate. Nier knew him, Rod Ross, as his adversaries called him. The two of them must have been working together. Mello himself had a determined stare. His gaze was not leaving the factory's front doors. He was eating a chocolate bar, of course, getting looks of a slight disdain from the other contenders. I like how they're all just like pressed up against the gates, looking at the door from like half a mile away. Like
Yeah.
the movie.
Goodness me.
Especially Misa Amane, the actress who had received the ticket from a desperate fan. Accompanying her was a jumpy young man, Tuda Matsuda. He seemed to be the most excited one there. Aren't you excited, Misa? Soon we'll be face to face with the best candy maker in the world. She smiled, her dark red lip gloss shining. Of course. Why wouldn't I be excited? Nier moved on to the next ticket finder, Light Yagami. He was tall, and his face was just as determined as Mello's, but his was hiding other emotions. An older man was his guardian. Nier knew him, he was Light's father, Soichiro. I was gonna say why would he know him, but I guess he is like a police chief, so maybe. He had Lidner look him up, that's why. Nier had a feeling that Light would be a special factor in this. Like that Light's with his dad, that's very funny. Not as funny as Ryuk, but Ryuk may not exist in this universe.
I'm sure maybe there's a bunch of mini Ryuks running around. The Ryuk Olympas.
Oh god, that's too good, it's probably that.
A bunch of Willem Dafoes shrunken down.
It's a bunch of
Green screened on top of the footage.
bunch of Watashis or whatever his butler's name is.
Watari.
Ataris.
Watari, Ari, Ari.
And last but not least was Matt. He was wearing the exact same clothes he wore for the interview. The only difference being that the goggles weren't covering his eyes, instead perched over his hair. He casually smoked a cigarette as he stood alone, no guardian or companion.
How sad.
The clock tower in the background's minute hand struck the 6, and out of nowhere, a loud, distorted voice resounded. Welcome to my my factory. I am Al. As you all know, I am sure that you're all excited, but what does L sound? It doesn't sound right.
Just like bland and
I'm
tired.
sure that you're all
Yeah.
excited.
Welcome to my factory. I am Al. As you all know, I am
Held this big ass event and he can't be fucked. Oh my god.
I'm sure that you are all excited, but I must ask that when the gates open, only the winners come inside. Suddenly, the massive gates lurched and slowly opened.
Oh, it's Pawtucket Pat.
The winners stepped forward, and Misa gave a cautious glance over her shoulder at the overwhelming crowd. As soon as the 9 were inside, the doors stopped and they switched directions. The group kept walking forward in their neat line. On the door, who do you think's in the front of the line?
Matt.
Light.
Light's dad.
He loves chocolate.
I'm getting the first bite. What was inside? Okay, the group kept walking forward in their neat line, and the doors of the factory opened, beckoning them inside. What was just inside had their jaws floored. They all had expected the shining star of a man with perfect clothes and all that. Instead, they were greeted by a wrinkled white dress shirt and messy black hair, hidden under a beat-up top hat. They didn't even wear shoes.
Hell yeah.
only quote-unquote nice thing about him was the gleaming L that adorned the hat. Perfectly shining L, I'm
Just
sure.
standing there with his blank, sad expression.
Not wearing any shoes.
Hunched over with a big top hat.
This is the greatest thing. Oh my god.
That was all worth it. It's so funny. The unkempt man lifted his hat and bowed, much more polite than his appearance would let on. Greetings. Welcome to my factory. You're L? Mello almost spat out his mouthful of chocolate. You're L? Mello was very edgy. Almost spat out his mouthful of chocolate. L nodded, placing his hat delicately back on his head. And you're all the winners. The five nodded, their guardians not responding. Excellent. Now before we enter, may I have everyone's names? He pointed to Mello, starting here. My name's Mello, and I've got to say, I am a huge fan of your stuff, especially the chocolate. Mello gave a lopsided grin. No, I'm gonna make Matt sound like that, and Mello can be a little bit more enthusiastic because I think Matt is pure edge and no other character.
You gotta make Mello Dutch.
Mello's Dutch?
Yeah, give him a Dutch accent like Augustus Gloop.
Oh, I think that'll just come off bad. I don't know how to do a Dutch accent. You're right though. He should be the chocolate glutton. My name's Mello, and I've got to say, I am a huge fan of your stuff, especially the chocolate.
Oh, I love your chocolate, yeah.
Mello gave a lopsided grin. I'm Miss Amine, and I'm sure you can't say her own name. I'm sure you.
My name is Anime.
I'm sure you've heard of me. I'm kind of famous. Light Yagne, I've actually wanted to meet you for a long time now, so I'm very honored. Light bowed slightly. Matt, I'm only here because I've got nothing better to do yet, Matt said flatly, flicking a cigarette into the February snow surrounding them. I thought he was going to flick it at L.
Flick it into the chocolate.
Puts on his hat.
Near. He didn't go into details. He honestly just wanted to get this over with now that he was there. Elle nodded after each said their name, but took a special interest in Near. Well, come on then. Let's enter the factory. Chapter 5. Elle ushered the group into the gigantic building, and their jaws dropped for the second time in 10 minutes. It was so plain and white on the outside, but once they entered the doors, their eyes hurt from the sudden explosion of color and beauty.
Lights jaw dropped.
Certainly can't judge this book by its cover, huh? Mello said to no one in particular. It's beautiful, Misa gasped in awe. Let's start the tour. Lots to see, little time, Elle said, his voice and face expressionless. He led them all to a wide door at the end of a tall hallway. The door had a large L painted on it against a white background, a stark contrast from the colorful everything else. Ego much, Mello thought. Wow, Elle, this is amazing, Light said, staring at the high ceiling with wonderment. Matt stood beside Mello wordlessly. Elle retrieved a small key from his pocket and unlocked the towering doors, his jeans, I'm sure. They pushed open automatically, surely too heavy for any human to push. Number 3 of jaw-dropping moments that day, a full-on landscape of vibrant Seuss-like plants and trees seemingly straight from a Tim Burton movie took center stage in their field of vision. Our first stop is right here, Elle began. Everything in the room is edible, but I ask that you don't drink from the waterfall. There's a waterfall? Matt exclaimed. His eyes would have popped out of his head if not for his goggles. Not even like a chocolate waterfall, he's just excited that there's a waterfall.
An indoor waterfall? Are you kidding me?
It's pretty exciting. Elle nodded. It's liquid chocolate, but it is the purest chocolate that I use for my chocolate bars, of which you 5 received the tickets from. If any foreign matter gets into it, and we take great care not to let that happen, it could compromise the properties of the finished product. We? Rod Ross asked suspiciously. Oh, Rod Ross is the big buff guy. We? Rod Ross asked suspiciously. The only person I've seen so far is you. Elle ignored him. Instead, waving his arm in front of the doorframe to the edible earth inside. You may enter now. Mello was the first to sprint inside, making a running leap into a twisted dark chocolate tree and eagerly picking leaves. The others seemed too awestruck to enter, but soon gained the same excitement as Mello, even Matt. Each found a new favorite plant, and they ate happily. Until, however, They heard a scream from the corner of the room. Everyone ran towards the sound to see what happened. Light had been picking candy apples from a sugar tree when he saw a horrifying thing. Oh no.
Oh no.
Okay. Black feathers and a silver chain with pointed yellow teeth and a wide, sinister grin. It stared at Light, its unblinking red irises surrounded by yellow boring holes into his soul. Ryuk, don't scare the ticket finder, Elle lightly scolded. Wait, hold on. So somebody screamed, and then he saw Ryuk, and then he said, Ryuk, don't scare the ticket finder, Elle lightly scolded. The thing, apparently called Ryuk, turned its head to look at Elle. Sorry. It then flew away. What was that thing?
Flew away.
What was that thing? Oh. Okay, so Elle said Ryuk, don't scare them.
Yes.
Because Elle knows he's there, but Light does not know he exists.
He exists.
What was that thing? Light asked, shivering. That was a Shinigami, Elle explained. They help me around the factory. Usually hang about in this area. Why didn't we... Which one's Matsuda again?
Matsuda?
Who brought Matsuda with them?
Isn't that Light's dad?
Okay, sure. Why didn't we see them before? Matsuda asked, cradling a foot-long gummy bear in his arms.
I really hope that's Light's dad.
Elle pointed to the gummy bear. You won't be able to see them unless you eat the candy in this room. Or sorry, that was Light's voice. Elle and Light have the same person, which is fucking me up a little bit. Elle pointed to the gummy bear. You won't be able to see them unless you eat the candy in this room.
That's so funny.
So it's implied that if you use the Death Note, you don't go to heaven or hell, you just work for Elle in a goddamn factory.
Yes. You eat the candy, you don't go to heaven or hell, you just work for Elle in his factory.
He's got him.
Oh god. I'm trying to remember what Mela sounded like.
He was
Dutch.
He was the excited
Oh yeah, he was Dutch.
Oh yeah.
What about the waterfall? That's part of this room, and that it makes the chocolate bars you sell to everyone, Mello pointed out with an accusing tone. Your point? Elle stared at Mello, his voice flat.
This, Mello.
I eat at least 3 of your chocolate bars every day, but still, I wasn't able to see the shiny whatsits until I ate the leaves of that tree. He gestured wildly to a tree stump a few feet away. The waterfall is different. Different how? I cannot say, for it is one of my secrets I try so hard to keep. Elle leaned against a pulled sugar lamppost, breaking off a small piece. He placed it gently on his tongue, giving us silent permission to keep eating. Near was the only one who wasn't acting like a madman. He sat quietly beside a fondant bush, picking blades of grass. He hadn't eaten anything, so he didn't act out when Light saw the Shinigami. Everyone, Elle called out, his voice echoing. Everyone! 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 It's time we continued our tour. Yeah.
Everyone!
Meet me at the base of the waterfall. Chapter 6 of 8. Waiting for them all was an ornate boat floating in the liquid chocolate.
Oh no.
Elle stepped on. Come on the boat, and our tour may continue.
Here we go.
Mello, always eager, was the first to jump onto the boat, followed by Misa and Matsuda, then the rest, with Nier and Rester getting on last. Wait, hold on. Was that everybody?
Elle and the rest. Light and the rest.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure we didn't miss anybody that's drinking from the fountain or anything.
Oh no.
Says the rest. Now then, everyone. Hold on. Elle's calm voice resonated from the tunnel they were beginning to travel through, echoing many times before disappearing into thin air. The ride might get a bit bumpy. Mello didn't want to sit down. He was too excited to see the rest of the factory. The boat lurched as it hit a current, and Mello lost his balance. Rod, Ross, and Soichiro really reached out to catch him, but he fell into the chocolate and was immediately swept away by the current. Everyone fell silent, staring into the chocolate waves with horror.
Oh no.
Elle didn't seem to notice. Instead, he crouched over in a chair drinking coffee from a clear sugar cup. Oh! Oh, Mello just fell off the boat, Matsuda said, his eyes wide. I'm aware of that. Elle calmly sipped his coffee. Oh wait, so Ichiro is the dad.
Right.
So who's
right.
Matsuda?
I think Matsuda was who Misa brought.
Oh right, I think Matsuda is the detective boy, like the youngest detective in the group of or no, the youngest police officer.
Maybe.
He's like a yeah, he's like almost like, what's the word? Almost like an intern to the police office, but he's a police officer, but he's like the youngest of the police officers, and he's just like a young police boy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Mello fell off the boat, Matsuda said, his eyes wide. I'm aware of that. Al calmly sipped his coffee. Aren't you going to do something? Soichiro Yagami asked angrily. Nothing. L dropped sugar cubes into his drink. The Shinigami can handle it. But what, a few people asked. Mello-san's companion was the one called Rod Ross, correct? Now that Mello-san is gone, it seems most sensible to... Rod Ross stood up accusingly as L's words were cut off by yet another lurch of the boat. Ross lost his footing and tipped over the edge. He was lost to the liquid chocolate.
Jeez.
Oh no, I don't like where this story is going. What is going on? Soichiro shouted, standing up. That's 2 people lost within the first hour of this tour. He stared at L, who had finished his coffee and was silently watching Soichiro. What's going to happen to them? Are they still alive? They will be fine. L kept an even tone. As I said, the Shinigami will take care of this. Besides, you're also standing. I'd advise sitting down or you might fall as well. Soichiro closed his mouth and glared at L before sitting down. The boat arrived at a dock soon, and L instructed the remaining party to step off carefully. The next leg of our tour awaits. They walked down the colorful halls until they approached a set of double doors. Light blue with black lace-like patterns painted on it. What a pretty design! Misa bounced on her heels, admiring the door. Light glanced at Misa strangely before taking a few steps to stand beside L, a smile on his face. So where are we going next? In time, Light-kun.
She's just announcing that she likes the room and Elle's giving her Light's giving her the stink eye.
I don't like that Mello just
Mello
fell
just
overboard.
fell and died, and so did Rod Ross.
Fell overboard and he's lost.
Rod Ross just gave up the ghost.
Those are 2 of my favorite characters. They're gone.
They fell into the brink. They'll be fine.
It's okay.
In time, Light-kun. I don't want to spoil anything for you. Elle said as they stopped right in front of the gothic doors.
Light-kun.
Elle doesn't even know him. He told him his name and he's like, Light-kun.
We're friends now.
Elle took a ring of keys from his pocket that jingled as he chose one of the larger keys and unlocked the double doors. And everyone watched eagerly as they slowly creaked open. Inside those doors, the room was a lot different than the first, looking more like Frankenstein, with clear tubes filled with colorful liquids framing the dull gray walls. Grinding conveyor belts displayed small randomly colored pellets that collected in bins at the end. Elle waved a hand at the machinery. This is the room where I experiment with my new types of sweets. He turned to the group behind them. Please don't touch anything unless I say you may. Some of the things here are too unstable and not yet ready for human testing. What experiment are you working on right now? Light asked. His eyes flooded with awe and amazement. Multiple ones, actually. The station is creating the first prototypes of a special kind of apple that will turn your vision into that of a Shinigami's for an hour after you finish eating the apple.
Excuse me?
What?
As if, like, the people of the world could just, like, want to do that.
As if they know what that means.
Yeah.
These things they just learned to
These
exist.
things they can't see.
He points to a complicated machine at the far side of the room. His gaze moved to a contraption much closer to them.
Why would L make something like that?
He's a candy
The
man.
Shinigamis told me they were blind, so I wanted to make a candy that would make people understand.
Make a candy that makes people go blind.
For an hour.
Just suck on a gobstopper and your vision goes away. That would be so unnerving.
That would be terrifying. That'd be dangerous. What if you didn't know when you were driving?
So there's a contraption packaged in tiny pink boxes. I don't remember what's going on in here. He picked up a pink box and undid the white bow before glancing at what was inside. Ah, yes. He turned back to the ticket winners and guardians. These hard candies will cause two people to fall in love with each other, he explains as he flips the box over and two pink and red hearts fell into his palm. Misa's eyes widened, and she pushed her way to the front of the group. That sounds amazing. Can I have a box? Elle placed the hearts back inside their pink box and set it aside. The recipe isn't complete yet, and I haven't found a way to test them yet, so no, I can't give you any of these. Misa huffed and crossed her arms. What do you mean you don't have a way to test them? You've got your Shinigami, don't you? It's impossible for Shinigamis to fall in love with each other, so I can't test this product on them.
It's impossible.
Oh no.
I've seen it.
The Shinigamis are not gay and they will not be. Misa, do not ask me again.
The Shinigami believe in wholesome Christian values.
It is impossible for Shinigami to be gay. I have tried.
Lord, have I tried. It's lonely here.
That's what the L stands for on my hat.
It used to stand for love, now it just stands for L.
Now it stands for lonely.
Misa grumbled as Elle proceeded to explain the rest of the experiments being conducted. Her eyes gradually shifted to the machine that was making the Shinigami apples. Briefly watching Elle to see that he wasn't watching, she casually wandered over to the machine and stole one of the apples off the conveyor belt and hurriedly ran back to the group. Follow me now. We're going to the next room, Elle called to everyone. Isn't the apple the Shinigami eyes thing?
Yeah.
They all exited the room and walked down the hall. Misa held back at the rear at the crowd, being careful to hide the fact that she had stolen one of Elle's test products. However, Nier had seen her run over to the machine, but he didn't say anything. He knew that they weren't stable enough people yet, and frankly, he wanted to see what would happen. As nonchalantly as she could, Misa took a bite of the apple. Yeah, try taking a quiet bite of an apple in a quiet room, Misa.
I was about to say. Crisp ass noise.
Oh my god. Much juicier than regular apples. Before she knew it, she had eaten the whole thing. Yeah, try quietly eating an entire apple. I was just watching her as if he's like, yeah, as if I can't see you eating this whole apple. Oh my god.
She looks like she didn't do anything.
After a moment, she became confused. Didn't Elle say that whoever ate these apples vision would change? Misa thought, I can't see anything differently. After a second thought, she nearly lost her balance from the sudden change. Everything flashed shades of red, and everyone had their names floating over their heads with strings of numbers underneath. Is this how Shinigami see the world? She thought. It's really cool, but kind of weird. She looked around the hallways, enjoying how everything... Imagine she's like... I mean, if she doesn't know what those numbers are, but if she did understand what they were, she'd be like, wow, that thing could see when I died. That's really scary. It also looks really scary.
Jesus Christ.
She looked around at the hallways, enjoying how different they looked from before, with all the colors being overshadowed by crimson. A few minutes later, Misa began to feel very strange. She felt as if she was growing taller and thinner, almost as if she were floating.
Oh,
She looked down at her feet and gasped. They were a lot larger than before and pointier. Ow, what's going on? Misa stuttered out and nearly choked. Her voice changed and was much deeper and raspier. Elle turned around. His eyes were wide. Misa-san, what happened? I don't know. I was just walking here with you, and this happened, Misa cried. What was happening to her?
her voice becoming more Defoe-ier by the second.
I think I know what happened. Everyone turned to the little white figure standing beside Misa. What happened? Light asked, panic in his eyes and voice. Nier calmly looked at Misa and held his hands out expectantly. Misa's shoulders fell, and she dropped the Shinigami apple core into his hand, and everyone gasped. It's quite simple, really, Nier started to explain. After Elle mentioned the apples that gave him the vision of the Shinigami, Misa became interested. Considering that Misa is a celebrity, it can most likely be said that she doesn't like sweets because of their unhealthiness. Is that correct? Misa nodded sadly. Nier continued. So when Elle explained a special fruit instead of another type of candy, she couldn't help herself. So she took and ate one of the apples. But, he paused for the dramatic effect, Elle said that the apples weren't ready yet for humans. So it should have been assumed. Just explaining that I don't care.
Just like Death Note.
And that something was Misa not just gaining the temporary eyes of a Shinigami, but in fact transforming into one. L stared at Nier, impressed at his deduction skills. Is everything Nier-kun said true? Misa's just floating there looking like a freak. Misa stared at her grotesque feet with a guilty haze to her eyes. L sighed. Well, I guess there's only one thing left to do now. Rem, he called into the air, and a white Shinigami flew down to the group. Yes, L, Rem answered. Please escort Misa-san and Matsuda-san away. You know where they need to go.
Oh no.
I thought he was going to play a flute to summon his army.
Pull one out of his hat.
Rem briefly looked at Misa before looking back at L, and L nodded. Of course, L. Where are they going? Where are they going? Soichiro asked. You don't need to worry about that. They'll be fine. Besides, our tour isn't over yet.
Oh my god.
Chapter 7 of 8.
Oh my god.
What else could there be to see? Rester whispered to Nier as they kept walking along the hallways. We've lost 4 people now, and Elle doesn't seem to mind in the least. Nier lifted a shoulder as a shrug. Rester glanced at Elle before looking back at Nier. How did you figure out all that stuff about Misa anyway? It wasn't that hard. Anyone could have been able to figure out if they weren't freaking out so much. I suppose, Rester said, turning his attention back to the front of the group, where they were approached in another set of double doors. These doors were blood red with an ornate black cross painted on the door surrounded by golden accents. Light gasped. Who paints these doors? They're amazing. A blood red door with a giant black cross.
Jesus.
I think it's hardly necessary, Suichiro said, staring at the door. Not necessary, but it makes it interesting, Elle explained as he unlocked the huge doors. What was inside these doors, none could imagine. Unlike the plentiful atmospheres of the other two, this one was barren and dark. Huge skeletons of creatures that never existed slowly crumbled, and debris from who knows where was scattered along the landscape. What on earth was this room supposed to be? Rester asked, staring up into the grayish, empty sky. This room is where the Shinigami go in their free time, Elle explains. It's also where I send the completed sweets and products for shipment. How does that work? Matt spoke for the first time in a while. There's no doors to the outside world. And hell, this looks like a world of its own as it is. Over there is a special portal that lets my products be transported anywhere to Earth. Elle directs the remaining winner's attention to a large hole in the ground several feet away. Coming from it was a curious white glow. I don't believe it, Matt said, crossing his arms. There's no way it's actually a working portal. What are you, aperture science? Light, however, was utterly amazed by the portal and the room they were in.
Cool portal joke.
This was the Shinigami's home, and it clearly looked so. I wonder what it's like to be a Shinigami, he thought, as he stared at one of the fantastical skeletons. He walked over to the portal and stared into it. He could almost feel himself being pulled in by the impossibility of it. Light! Soichiro called, running towards him. Then he realized it wasn't just a feeling. Oh my god, I'm actually falling in! Light tried to regain his balance, but he was too far over the edge for it to matter. He frenzied crawled off the edge of the portal until he gained a hold of it. He held on for dear life as Soichiro stopped on the edge. Light, what were you thinking? Soichiro shouted. I don't know. I thought I was just standing on the edge, not falling inside. Inside of it. Soichiro kneeled down and grabbed onto Light's wrist with both hands, using all of his strength to try to pull him up. But Light was too heavy for Soichiro. Light felt his fingers slipping from the edge, and Soichiro could feel his heels slowly sliding closer to the edge. Matt, Rester! Soichiro called to the others. Help us! Rester ran to them, but he was just too slow. Light lost all hold, and Soichiro couldn't support his weight. They both fell down into the portal, disappearing into the white light. Rester stopped, horrified. Elle reacted quickly. Gelsis, his voice echoed through the room, and a meek, stitched-together creature crawled to him. Gather a team of Shinigami and find out where Soichiro-san and Light-kun went, as soon as possible. Gellis began to crawl away, and Elle cleared his throat. Everyone, we best leave so the Shinigami can do their job. The remaining 3 looked around at the gathering team of Shinigami and followed Elle out of the room.
It's not even candy anymore.
They just walked into this barren land, and Elle and his father went to a portal and died, and he's like, okay.
Oh my god.
On with the tour. Where do you see these fizzy lifting drinks? They're pretty.
I like how
baller.
the Shinigami all live in L's house.
That's what I was saying.
They work for him and make candy.
Gillis began to crawl away, and L cleared his throat. Everyone, we best leave. Yep. The remaining three looked around the room and followed him out. Matt casually lit a cigarette, not seeming to care that nearly everyone had fallen prey to something in the factory. But Near began to grow suspicious. Is he doing this on purpose? He stared at the man, the wrinkled dress shirt and dirty socks. He seemed almost unaware of the fact that the 6 people had left the party. What if this is all things that are happening for a reason? Chapter 8. Each time everyone walked through the halls of L's factory, everyone became a smaller and smaller number. Originally, 9 included L. It shrunk to 3, 2 winners and 1 guardian. The next door that approached was only a single door. Unlike the other doors, this one was a completely normal-looking door, a tannish with a bronze doorknob. Surprisingly, it was unlocked. The room beyond the door had no lights, so it was completely black. There was no furniture, spare a desktop computer and an attached webcam. What's this room supposed to be? Matt asked, straining to see in the darkness. L walked to the computer and sat down in front of it. This is my office. He took his top hat off and sat down beside him. Why are we in your office? Matt crossed his arms.
Because you're in trouble.
The tour is finished, but something still isn't complete. L turned the computer on, and the bright light from the monitor practically blinded the other 3. What still has to be done? Rester asked as he blinked repeatedly. L looked behind him at the 3. The golden tickets, as you may remember, were supposed to help me choose my successor. He chewed on his thumb as he continued. This tour was to help eliminate those who were unworthy. So all of those incidents were on purpose? Near and Rester said together. Yes, they were. But I can assure you, as I have before, they will all be perfectly fine. Something didn't add up in Near's head. If the tour's over, and the tour was supposed to choose a successor, then why are there 2 of us left? That's what I'm now trying to figure out. Elle stared at the computer screen intently. I suppose you may be both worthy of successors, but it's not what I originally planned for. Well, if it helps, I don't really care. I just came because I wasn't doing anything today, Matt said. I don't really want to be Elle. Elle stares at Matt for a moment, and then looks at Near. Well, I guess that settles it. Near-kun, it seems you win as the new Elle. He gave a small smile. Really? Near wasn't all that sure what to think. Sure, this place was pretty cool, if he'd let himself be honest, but he didn't like sweets at all. He was quiet for a long time. Can we just recap what this place was? It was like one room with a chocolate fountain and some edible trees.
Right.
The wasteland. And
There was the room with the apples that turned
Yes.
Misa into a Shinigami.
the machinery with the apples and the candy.
It was very cool.
And that's all they saw. They walked through the whole thing.
That's all they needed.
Okay, I think I screwed up. Accident. He was quiet for a long time, thinking about what to do, and the silence became painfully awkward. Near made up his mind. L? Yes, Near-kun? May I give the factory to someone else? Near asked. Near asked, I know you said I was the most worthy one here, but I don't like sweets. I would recommend just giving the factory to someone else, but the 2 of you can run it. Can co-run it. Near considered that option, and nodded. I can do that. So L, can you do me a favor? Yes, what is it? Can you get Mello from me? I have something to ask him. The end.
Well, Mello's dead, I'm afraid.
Can you get Mello from me? No.
Ryu can dig up the grave.
Ryu, can you reverse kill him?
Can you write his name in the light book? The life book?
Oh,
I saw a lot of parody. I saw a lot of fanfictions called Light Book.
I give that... Oh my god, I give that 10,000 little Shinigamis singing and dancing out of 10.
I give that 2 expanding feet out of 10.
Give that one big gummy bear held in Uichiro's arms. It wasn't actually him, it was the other guy, Matsuda.
Yeah.
One big gummy bear held in Matsuda's arms, which it didn't appear that he ate yet because when he had it, he was like, you have to eat the candy to see it. He was just cradling a giant gummy bear for no reason.
Yeah.
It's great. He said, I like this one. This one is big and a gummy bear.
And it is mine.
It's mine.
So, what was the point of that?
Right.
Well,
You're the new L.
well, I mean, Mello loves chocolate, so I guess it's cool that he got to be the leader of the greatest chocolate factory.
True.
And him and Nier are like enemies, but he's like, we can be friends in the end. I'll give it to my chocolate-loving friend.
That was such an underwhelming ending. And when the Matt's like, I don't want it.
Neither of them won it, and I was like, okay, well, I killed the other ones, so you have to take it. I quit my job.
One of you has to do this.
I was really hoping I get to quit my job today. Don't ruin this for me. I don't like this top hat. It doesn't match my clothes at all.
I already turned in my 2 weeks with me.
I did my best to personalize it, but I'm not the best sutrist, as you can see. I only got the L part.
If you need me, I'll be sleeping in my bed with 3 other elderlies. Okay, I already got mine pulled up.
Okie doke, good.
Chapter 1. Welcome to the Good Life. As Riku stepped outside the front porch, he gazed into the gray sky that was pouring rain. Why does it always have to be raining when I'm trying to go to the fucking store? He bellowed angrily. He sighed in disappointment.
Oh no.
Down the street, a man was running, a hood over his head, and he held something tightly against his chest. Here, he yelled, handing Riku a black book.
No.
Who the hell are you? Riku asked as he lifted his right eyebrow. Just keep it. Do whatever you want with it. Goodbye. He ran off, dropping the black book onto the wet pavement. Just what I need. Some weirdo handing me things. He sighed once again, leaning down to pick the black book up. On the cover of the book, it's spelled in a script writing.
I can see this
Death Note.
I can see this happening perfectly in a PS2 cutscene. His opening hand just picking up the other fucking bottle.
What the hell is this? He questioned as he opened it. There's also a how to use manual. He suddenly thought, hey, what the hell? Maybe I should throw it away or be amused at this damn thing until the rain stops.
What the hell? Maybe I should throw it away.
He opened the door to his apartment complex and traveled to a small apartment.
Not having that keyblade's done some damage, huh?
Number 1, he began to read as he
Bachelor.
sat underneath his kotatsu table.
You've heard of Buff Riku. What about Bachelor Riku?
The human whose name is written in this note shall die. That's some pretty heavy stuff, but not impressed. Is this a chain letter? He scanned through the rules until he found 3. If the cause of death is written within 40 seconds of writing this person's name, it will happen. 4. If the cause of death is not specified, the person will simply die of a heart attack. The smell of the heavy winter rain got to Riku, and he fell sound asleep under the kotatsu. Wake up, or else I'll kill you awake! A harsh voice screamed.
Kill you awake.
Riku suddenly jumped from underneath the kotatsu and stared at the demon-looking boy. Oh, finally. So this is what the new DN owner looks like, he spoke. Huh? What the hell are you doing in my room? Riku muttered as he crawled back underneath the kotatsu. Make me cookies. Yeah. The boy grabbed the table. The boy grabbed the table and lifted me up. Brrr, Riku shivered. I'm talking, the boy bellowed into Riku's ears. This is so hard to keep track of who's saying what. It's written like a madman. Ah! And here I thought this was a dream. Riku was placing his hands over his ears. Who He looked at the boy with black spiky hair, yellow eyes like a cat, and large black wings. Shinigami Vanitas, he introduced himself.
I don't like that.
And the owner of that Death Note. I know it's Vanitas, but I've already committed to the Willem Dafoe voice.
Oh my god.
Riku looked over on the table and gazed at the book. I'm in dreamland. He smacked himself on the face. Ow!
Just like Nat Wolf in the movie Death Note.
Mm-hmm. Idiot, baka. You want me to sing Stupid MF for you? Stupid MF by MSI in parentheses, in case you weren't aware.
I'll look it up.
No, thank you. I think I'm alright. Well, Riku, you have the power to kill. What are you waiting for? Kill! Vanitas demanded. I don't believe you, Riku admitted. Vanitas floated to the TV and turned it on.
Mindless self-indulgence. I was like, MSI. It's very funny to think of Riku singing a mindless self-indulgence song.
Where's the damn news when you need it? He said, clicking the remote until he found channel 110 news. Kill him! Sadio. Can't pronounce his first name.
Get out of your job.
Grr. Didn't you read the fucking how to use? There's asterisks, so it's not really fucking, but it's fucking. Implying this was indeed written by a teenager.
No, I fell asleep right away. I picked it up and said, should I throw this away? No, I'm gonna go to sleep.
You write it. Write it with a pen! Riku got up and walked over to his cabinet and searched for a pen.
God, jeez, I don't know if I have one of those.
I know I'm having the worstest nightmare yet. A tempered god of death. A book that kills. The only thing real to me, having to work at a job just over broke company that lets me create kid characters that come to life, and I'm a 23-year-old man. What the fuck, Riku?
Riku's fucking. He's had that bottled up for a while. He's letting it go.
He's having the worstest nightmare ever.
That's such a Rugrats line.
He's 23.
I'm having the worstest nightmare ever.
God. He thought as he found a pen and sat at the table. He grabbed the book and opened it. Yes, Vanitas hissed under his breath. This is stupid, Riku muttered as he wrote down the name of the news person. How do I want him to die? Riku asked as he placed the pin in his mouth. There! Vanitas bellowed as he pointed to the screen. Saito grabbed his chest and killed over. Oh my god! A woman shrieked in the background. Turn it off! Turn the fucking cameras off! A man bellowed as he jumped in front of the TV. The TV chimed as a picture of Usagi Rabbit appeared. Riku's mouth slowly opened in awe. I actually killed someone. And he was my favorite cast of News 110 too. He yelled as he jumped to his feet.
Riku has favorite news anchors.
He really is.
Don't
20.
you?
He is 23.
I like the CGI baby on First Coast News.
Yeah.
You've seen him.
I have, regrettably.
He doesn't look real.
He's not.
Have you not seen him?
Yeah.
Okay, good. What's this feeling, he thought, and as he looked at his hands. This feeling of intentions murder. Even if I can kill people with a book, Vanitas, who the hell do I kill? Does it look like I have some revenge on people except the sky which keeps crying? You can rid the world of evil, Vanitas suggested. Oh, please. You can't rid the world of evil. And I'm not that kind of selfish person. I work and... And you have forgotten your past, right? Vanitas smirked. Riku twitched when he knew Vanitas saw right through him. I know all about you. You woke up in the cold streets right here in this town with only the name Riku in your pockets. How about we kill the people who know about you and made your past life miserable? And this is an author's note. You know the bad part about this? It's that I made it when I already have Death Note characters in Kingdom Heart, and now I have Kingdom Heart characters in Death Note. Freaky, right? I hope this is well, and I'd like to give great credit to trying to change my yesterday for helping me. Yes, people, with not so funny stories I need help with. I don't own shit, Kay? Fortunately, there's a chapter 2 called Murders and Fun.
I'm imagining the light with the forbidden rose key.
The Keyblade wielder light. Lately, people have been dying from heart attacks. Does the Bastion Committee know what's going on? A news lady asked, holding the mic to Sid. Who's Sid?
The pilot from Kingdom Hearts.
Oh, right.
Blonde-haired.
Isn't it spelled with a C normally?
Yeah.
Okay, it's spelled with an S here. Well, that's funny then. Oh yeah, the Bastion Committee. Okay.
The one like real town in the Kingdom Hearts games that let it have NPCs.
You know, peoples just keep worrying about them. Whatever you young people worrying about, we have special ops on it. Riku angrily looked at Vanitas. What? You can't get what you want unless you kill a few people, he floated. Oh, sorry. Did you hear that? We killed people from the streets because you told me they knew. They knew about me. Calm down, Riku. Here, did I ever tell you? You also had the power to see when other people could die.
Oh
Yes,
God.
you did. Can I have a cupcake now? I've been craving them for minutes. Riku threw one of the mini hostess cupcakes at Vanitas. Nom 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 nom. He munched at it.
You took them out. You asked for it.
I'm just imagining this William Dafoe PS2 model eating a hostess donut, a cupcake.
Look up Spider-Man 2 Spider-Man PS2 Norman Osborn.
Oh no. We can get that in Blender and rig a scene.
Put him in VR chat. Bless you.
No, William Dafoe, Norman Osborn from Spider-Man PS2.
Alright, let me review this. The Shinigami Vanitas is addicted to Hostess cupcakes. He leads me to dead ends to my past. I feel like killing someone just because, Riku thought. Ding dong. He rose from his chair and opened the door. His eyes immediately twitched as he realized it's his next door neighbor. Don't you have anything better to do than bother the fuck out of me? Riku shouted as he tried to shut the door, but Axel stuck his foot in the door, preventing it to close. Yo, Richan! Axel yelled as he slammed the door open, pushing Riku out of the way. You busy? How about this? Instead of you breaking into my home through my door, do it through the window, and then I'll be able to kill you with my pistol. And then I'll tell the police it was of self-defense.
His pistol.
His key pistol. Killer jokes, he laughed as he placed his long arm on Riku's shoulders. Listen, Richan, don't call me that. You know those really great detective skills you've had since you came here? I want you to meet somebody with the same ability as you. He was in my class in middle school, but let's not pay attention to details. Oh, great, Riku moaned. Who is this man? Vanitas asked. His name is Tante no Kami, the god of detectives. Got it memorized?
Is Norman Osborn in the PS2 games?
Well, Green Goblin is, so...
Yeah, I don't see any pictures of him.
Let me see here. I'll go on the models resource.
Who's Tante no Kami? I know I guess that's just probably the translation.
How do you spell it?
Tantei.
Tante no Tante?
Tante no Kami. I'm assuming it's just translation of God of Detectives. And he said, got it memorized. And Riku said, no.
Apparently there's some new show called Tante no Tante that's very popular, and I cannot look up Tante no Kami.
Sorry.
So, nope.
Tante no Tante. Okay. Then you better. Now let's get going, he said, dragging Riku out of his apartment and throwing him in the red car. Hey, Richan, wait up! Oh. Hey, Richan, wait up! Vanitas yelled, trying to catch up with all the commotion. Axel drove to a Miku cafe and dragged Riku in. He's right here. That may be an anagram. Miku is all capital, but who's to say?
Say Miku?
M-I-K-U.
Yeah. The Vocaloid.
Mm-hmm. A Miku cafe.
Yep.
He's right here, Axel pointed to a man with short brown hair and blue eyes. He's silent to most people and colder than ice itself. And you know this how? Let's go! Axel grabbed Riku's wrist and walked over to Tante. Sup, Tante? This is Richan. The cold eyes of God looked at Axel. Okay, well, I'll be going. Good luck, Charlie, Richan. I guess the bastard doesn't know what to do with him, Vanitas said, pointing at Tante. My name's not Tante, it's Squall.
Squall.
Ah! It's lamer, Vanitas bellowed.
I can't find it either.
That's a bummer. You'll have to make your own.
True. Low poly, here I come.
It's nice to meet you, Richan. Riku just looked at him, shocked at that, and he said that embarrassing name Axel gave him. It's Riku, Mr. Squall. Riku shook his head as he sat down. You have this energy around you. I like it. Oh God, this is good. Vanitas busted out laughing. Riku asked nervously. So then, do you know about the murders? People just dying out of nowhere? Yes, I do. It was kind of a shocker when I heard them. What do you think is causing them? A disease. Nice cover up, Richan, Vanitas sang. A disease? How so, Richan? Stop calling me Richan. I don't care if you are the god of detectives. I will kill you with this spoon in here and blame the crazy Shinigami. Riku thought violently as he grabbed the spoon. Well, it's like this, he began to explain, and Squall leaned over. Everyone has problems, right? What if this disease is airborne and was created to make people kill themselves or have a heart attack? The person that died by eating chocolate, diabetes, squashed by a taxi, the car became airborne and landed on him. Gacked. Shinee. Whoa. Axel awed from afar. You will be my assistant. Assistant? That's right. I need your brilliant mind to help me with this mystery. Disease, you say? Click, clack. Sorry, this is going off the walls.
I'm having trouble keeping track.
Yeah, it's just like going from quotation to quotation nonstop.
Right.
He placed a handcuff on Riku's right wrist. What is this? Riku yelled, trying to take it off. You're attached to me, he said, holding up the link to the left wrist. I heard you're a runner, Richan. Axel! Riku said as he turned his head towards the peeping Axel. Axel slowly brought his head back from the counter. Only you, he coughed. I knew we needed you, Axel spoke as he stood up and leaned over the counter he was hiding behind. You're just too special, he realized Riku was in front of him. Star. And then made a new set of dental floss. Whoa, hold on there, Riku. You get paid, and he'll release the chain after you get to the committee. Committee? You mean the Bastion Committee, right? Right. Then you come along too, Axel. Riku smirked as he grabbed Axel's wrist. They headed to an underground base, which was directly underneath the city. They entered the doors of the mansion like a laboratory. Reach-in, I'd like you to meet Yuffie, Aerith, Sid, and Cloud, Leon introduced. Look, it's Kiki! Yuffie yelled as they watched the live television of the popular singer and actor. Kiki, nickname Kairi Hime, perform.
Okay.
Why does she look familiar? Riku asked himself. This is weird, isn't it? I actually posted 2 chapters within 2 weeks. Oi, read Innocence by trying to change yesterday, please. And that's where the story left off.
I give that an entire pack of Hostess cupcakes.
My eyes are tired. I wish I had the Shinigami eyes.
Same.
I rate that story Riku using his pistol in self-defense.
I rate that 3 shakes of Riku's fist into the air when it rains.
Alright, my turn.
Yeah, get on with it, Scruffy.
No.
Did you know Scruffy was a Simpsons and Futurama character?
No, I did not.
You know that Scruffy was originally planned to be Homer Simpson? But the voice actor wasn't very good at saying dough.
No. Alright. The Wanceler was young at the time. He went to set up a place since he wanted to prove his mother once and for all that he was gonna be successful in life, unlike his twin brothers. They all laughed, but he took it as a push and wanted to stop being such a pushover. Eventually he settled and his donkey was eating some grass on the side. He noticed all the vibrant colors of the forest. I want to live here forever. A creature taller than him, blue and more colder than ice, appeared out of nowhere. I hear you want to live here forever, you say. Who the hell are you? I'm Ryuk. I live here. This is my forest.
Steven, I'm not happy.
Speaks for the trees.
For real? I was telling Elias earlier, this is like the worst possible combination I could find.
I love when we have interesting combinations.
Yes. Ever since Shinigami King kicked my ass out of Shinigami Realm, I came down in search for another human victim. You see,
friend.
You see, Light Yagami died. I killed him, bless his heart. Enough of the crocodile tears. Well, if you don't want it, I'll take it back. Wansey looked it over. You sat on my notebook. That's why I came up. I don't remember this. Just think of the things you can do with it. How bad can I possibly be? He began to stand, playing his guitar in public. And people threw tomatoes at him. It went too far. A fat lady threw her smelly bra. Gross! He took his notebook out. What's your name, lady? She laughed. And what are you gonna do with that? He held it high. I'm testing it. She laughed. A diary? They all laughed at him. He was visibly upset. Ryuk came around. You can always get the ideal I told you about days ago. Are you down for that? He noticed the fat lady's nasty mouth spit out as she laughed hard. Deal. He granted such eyes, and once he walked around away from their sight, she dropped like a whale out of the ocean. Jesus Christ.
Oh my god.
Ryuk chuckled too hard. The people surrounding her were surprised. Once he felt good of himself, he went to make another scrap of the Thneed patch. Lorax had been on his ass for some time now. You're not supposed to cut down any more trees, Beanpole! He wrote down Lorax.
He wrote down Lorax.
Wansler, I'm afraid that won't work. Lorax then choked.
He was so confident. That won't work on me, buddy.
Writing the Lorax will die in your funny notebook will not kill me.
He just called him a beanpole.
In the movie, that's like his endearing nickname. I'll take over this forest and make it Thneedsville.
By cutting down the trees, he will make it more Treeville.
Bless ye, heart and soul. Ryuk had tears in his eyes. Once he began to make quick sales and lots of Thneeds. Mr. Lorax was dead, so all the animals were somewhat concerned about that. Mr. Quack loved his master Wansy. He was happy no matter what mess Wansy was doing. He quacked with content. That's his duck, by the way. Days later, he met the love of his life. She was roaming across the forest.
Taylor Swift.
My name's Norma. She's hot. Wansler blushed lots. She wore a pink dress.
Wansler knows when she's gonna die.
She wore a nice pink dress about knee-high and a hat that went with it. He fell in love with her since then. How do people feel about all these people dying? He asked out of the blue. She was stunned. Well, I'm not sure. Last I heard, he goes by Kira. He already knew that. What do you feel?
He also goes by Kira.
Monster goes by God.
Dr. Seuss's Kira. What do you feel, though? Well, do you think he's really bad or really, really bad? She nervously giggles. Wansy, you're kind of scaring me with that. I mean, what do you think about my green suit and my latest album cover? Wansler, I think I gotta go. My mom's probably worried. So you too, huh? Good night, Wansler. She stormed out. Harsh, bro. He sat down. I miss that nagging cunt, Lorax. My mom only loves me from all the money I make. I made many people happy from all the bad people I got rid of. And now I think I lost Norma. Lorax is one funny ass cunt. My suggestion would be to run after her, if I may add. I can't. She seemed worried and probably hates me now. You could have at least hit it and quit it. Go to her house, knock her up.
I'm not on either of your sides, but you should knock her up.
Then I can watch.
Oh no. Once he had the biggest smirk on his face. Followed by the reddest blush he ever had. He went down to town and noticed her window was open.
I thought you said he had the Redditor's blush.
Oh.
Oh my god.
He was peeking around, though, and noticed her inside, you see. It was a wondrous time when people still left their front door unlocked and windows wide open through the night. I don't like where this is going. So he saw her going to bed, all by herself in a pretty tight nightgown. Ryuk smirked.
That's all he ever does.
He climbed over. Ryuk was a horn dog himself. Can I join? Sure. Wait, what the fuck? Ryuk laughed.
Ryuk's like 8 feet tall.
She was laying with her eyes closed, trying to get some sleep, but felt something. Once he held her arms, Ryuk was looking at this. Norma, he moaned. Norma was wide-eyed. He placed a hand over her mouth. She felt something poke her butt. Ryuk unzipped.
Unzip.
I hate this.
His like bodysuit.
He pushed Wansler over and jumped on the bed, fucking Norma. He got mad and Norma was enjoying it. Oh.
He got mad.
It was rough. He pounded her with his long similar to a black, thick 12-inch cock. Wansy went limp and ran home.
Dang, once I got cocks.
Ryuk came back. That was some good-ass fucking.
He came back. He slinks back to Onceler and smiles.
Just imagining him with that grin he's always drawn. That was some good ass fucking.
He got a cigarette in his long-ass fingers.
Smoking an apple.
Norma's my girl, idiot. Once he was drunk, he wanted to forget the fuckery he witnessed hours ago. Give it 9 months from now. Once he groaned. He threw a glass at him. It went through Ryuk. Gosh, Wansler, why are you so upset? Once he was drowsy enough and went to sleep. Hours later, Ted came around finding the Wansler man. Get out. Wait. Get out! Yelled the old man in his high-level house. Ted looked up. Sweet mother of God, muttered Wansler to himself. Well, are you gonna tell me? Tell you what? About trees. Seeds, huh? Seeds. Just plant seeds. But most of the things are fake and plastic. Then go away. The kid was bluish skin. Do you have a seed? You'll have to listen to my backstory. Can I just get the seed, old man? That's where you're wrong, kiddo. Ted was annoyed now. Fine. I was a talented singer and guitar player. I went to audition to be the next American Idol, but the 3 judges were cruel. What the hell was that? Yeah, it sounded like a cat died. Not only that, was run over and had his neck split off. But I tried. Not enough. Get the hell out of the studio. They are going to regret ever kicking me out of the contestant choices. They're gonna be like, we was wrong about Wansler. I ran home. Wansler, you realize that your retarded twin brothers have more potential than you. Mom, sorry, Bun Buns. She pinched the cheek of one of the twins. I rolled my eyes. You just don't got it, she chortled. The others followed.
He chortled.
You just don't got it, they both said in unison.
I finally got to leave, and my donkey kicked my twin brother in the ass. Ass for ass. Anyway. This is the place. It was a beautiful forest. I built my tent up. It was a struggle. You see, IKEA has crappy parts. Time passes, and this goofball named Lorax, I called him Clorax. He hated it. Would bother me non-stop. And suddenly, a gift from the heavens came to me. A guy named Ryuk gave me a death note. I was in love. A girl came around days later, and she was singing. I had made cupcakes that morning, and she ate one. After I handed her one, She told me that she liked it. I was in love. Get over it, old man. The story has nothing to do with seeds. Hush! Ted went to go in there and take the seat himself, but it was chain locked. Don't come in, kid, or else you will die.
What's your name, kid?
Ted sighed. Anywho,
He has the eyes.
It's true.
Anywho, where was I? Ah, yes. Well, that Norma turned out to be your grandma, and that's all you need to know about seeds. What are you talking about, old man? You were asking about seed, right? Ted was confuzzled. Well, good night. Wait, I still want the seed. Ted, you're disgusting. He shut the window, but I meant trees. The end.
Right.
That's better than I thought it would be, thank God.
I rate that story 12 long inches out of 10.
Not 12. I rate that one whale out of the ocean as a test.
I rate that one seed talk with no seed.
Ted, you're disgusting. Chain locked to the door.
I still feel like these stories got the format down better than the Netflix movie.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Oh boy.
In the Chocolate Factory one.
Near in the Chocolate Factory. Well, thank you everybody for listening to this splendiferous show we put on for you today. Steven!
Yeah.
I call upon you to pick the next theme for the next episode of the podcast.
Alright. The next theme for our next podcast is Invader Zim.
Okay, I bet there's a ton of those.
Yeah.
Elias, you didn't sing any Death Note songs.
True.
Yeah, I need a new gag. It wasn't working out.
Just use the second one that says "you dumb human fucker" or whatever that theme song is.
It's all like metal songs.
Yeah.
Alright, well I expect a new gag from you next recording session for Invader Zim.
Oh jeez.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
In honor of the new special coming out.
Oh yeah, enter the Florpus?
Yeah.
Florpus.
Oh yeah.
Coming out to Netflix. Buy Netflix today and watch Death Note the movie.
Watch Florpus the movie.
Watch
Deathlax. I'm so glad Ryuk didn't own the forest.
watch Beetleborgs on Netflix.
Not on Netflix, is it?
It is.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, like all the Saban shows are on Netflix.
It kills
yeah.
me so much.
That's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm. It's pretty cool.
Flabby.
Let's do the next episode on Flabber.
Not
Yes.
even on Beetleborgs, just specifically on Flower.
Yes.
All specifically
Well,
Flabby.
Any good fanfic of Beetleborgs would have him, so.
Big bad Beetleborgs.
Unfortunately, it is not the Flabber episode next time. It is the Invader Zim episode.
Ooh.
See you guys then.
See ya.
I slapped one of my balls laughing about that Lorax story, and it hurt for a while.
Are you okay?
I'll get over it.
An equal trade.
Jesus Christ, I was not expecting the sex.